So this is raising an exception. Okay. So raising an exception is different from try except. Okay. So try except is you're running a code, you're trying this code, except you have a certain kind of error, then you print appropriate notion, or if or you just implement something like here number equals 7. All right. So try except is different from raising an exception. Raising an exception is when you can create your own value error and give the reason yourself, as opposed to the standard value error. Here, invalid literal, blah, blah, blah. You see, zero division, division by zero, type error, must be real number, not string. This is Python inbuilt. So instead of that particular message, you will be able to give in your own message. So let's go through our square root function that we defined using Newton's method. So if your number is 0, then you should be able to raise a value error. Okay. And if its number is not less than 0, then your earlier code of square root that we used comes into play. So let's run this particular code. Okay. So cut and paste here. So let's run this. Okay. So we have defined the function. So let's see square root e. It is a function square root e. All right. So square root e at -5. Aha, it raised value error. So precisely the message I asked it to show. Okay. So square root e of 25. It's able to calculate square root e of 17. It's able to give me some kind of an approximate answer of 18. It's able to do this. All right. So we were able to raise an error when we gave it a negative input. When raising an exception, we technically create an instance of the appropriate error class. In this case, we created an instance of the value error class. And then we provided a descriptive error message. All right. Type checking. This is a very important technique. A value error happens when a function or method obtains the appropriate type of argument, but yet an inappropriate one. Like in the case of square root of a negative number. So we gave it numeric type, but we gave it a negative number. So that's an example of value error. On the other hand, type error is when a function or method obtains an argument of the inappropriate type. So for example, here you have square root e. Suppose I give it a string. It should give me type error. All right. That's what type error is. Type error is different from value error. We want to be able to check that the data sent matches the expected type. So when we raise error, we should be able to check the data type. Here is the syntax for a built-in function called isInstance. isInstance object class info. In other words, let's try. isInstance 3 of int type true. isInstance 3 of float type, it's false. isInstance 3.0 float type, true. isInstance A of string type, A is not defined. Aha, isInstance quotes A, string type, true, and so on. Okay, so each instance is a very useful technique to check whether the given object comes from that particular class. All right, so now we can update our square root e number. If your number is not an instance of int or float, you should be able to raise type error. Okay, if number is negative, you raise value error, and then the same code as before. All right, so I have the code here. Copy and paste. All right, so let's run this. Now suppose square root e of -5, I try to say, it's giving me value error. So -5 is numeric type, but of the wrong kind, because my square root should only take 0 or higher. So square root e, suppose I give it a string, it should tell me type error and the message number must be numeric. Is this okay? Now if I ask it to find square root e of 24, it's able to calculate and give me an approximate answer. Okay, here this is a function from the textbook. Have a look at this in a detailed fashion. What do you think it does? Think about it and ask me any questions, but at least have a look at it before you, okay, before we discuss. Okay, so this completes lecture 9. We'll meet again in our next lecture. Until then.